Hey Sam, how you doing? Hey, I know you said you thought Noah Gallen would be able to practice this week and be back. Just wondering how he's done, and that doesn't look good. What you're doing? What's
Yeah, I
Noah's?
don't know. I don't know. I don't know that he'll be ready or not. I don't know. I'm concerned there. I don't know. I don't know if he'll be cleared yet or not. I thought that there's a good possibility early in the week. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see there. Uh, he's moved well and all those things. I just don't know if he'll be cleared or not.
Hutch.
Yes, Sam, I was wondering if TJ Hammons has moved to running back full time now. And I know he didn't play a ton against LSU, but he seemed to make the most of his opportunities. Did he earn himself some more touches moving forward?
Yeah, yes, yes, and yes. Yes, he's moved there, and yes, I believe he's earned the right to touch the ball more. And he did a nice job against LSU, and made a couple of big plays for us. And he's had a really good week, and it's been a physical week here, and but he's had a really good week, and certainly, yeah. To answer your question, yes, and yes.
Scotty.
Hey, Coach, earlier in the week, Coach Drinkwitz said Felipe is probably playing as well as any quarterback in the league outside of Kyle Trask and Mac Jones. What's your take on that?
I think he's playing really well. Obviously, it's the SEC. There's some great quarterbacks in our league, but we're certainly glad that we have Felipe, and I appreciate Coach saying that about him, because I believe that as well.
Tom.
Sam, I wonder what practices look like this week. You mentioned physical. Do y'all have to go inside on that rain day? What have you seen from the kind of rejuvenation getting back going again?
Well, we went as a normal week, and so Mondays are shells, are pretty physical days on Monday. Tuesdays are full pads. Wednesday full pads. We were able to get out on Monday and Tuesday outside. Yesterday was rainy and cold, and we elected to go inside as well. Today we'll go inside, but we've had really spirited and good practices this week.
Trey Biddy.
Coach, Traylon Burks has had he's averaged less than 6 touches per game these last 3 games. I'm sure teams are doing stuff to try to take him away and stuff. Is that a guy that you, I guess, just kind of force the issue with, just even though they're trying to take it away?
I think we have to get him more than 6 touches. And a lot of times you have to force that. A lot of times the way you force that, I don't think necessarily in the passing game. You can throw some screens to him and things of that nature, but give him the ball and some motions and give him some ball out of the backfield and things of that nature to just get the ball in his hands. He's dynamic, he's big, he's fast, and we need to get the ball 10, 12, 15 times a game if we can to him. I don't know if we'll ever get that many, but I'd like to see him having his hands that many times.
All right, let me know if you've got questions in the chat. Bob?
Sam, as this week has gone on, have you seen any different emotions from Barry and Brad and Sam because, they're going back to Columbia, or is it, like you're playing anybody else?
I'm sure they have their own motivation and things of that nature, but no, haven't seen anything different out of them. Certainly have worked hard and prepared well and all those things, but haven't really seen anything different, no, to answer your question.
And but Barry's 4-0 in this series, and now he's on your side, as Chuck Barrett always says on these commercials. Do you feel like that's kind of an ace in the hole for you?
Well, if he can keep his streak going, it would be. I don't know. I'm glad he's our defensive coordinator. I can tell you that.
Hutch.
And I think you mentioned earlier in the week that you're getting Dominic Johnson back. Is he getting close to maybe helping y'all on offense? And when a young guy like that misses a couple of weeks, does it kind of set back his progression at all?
Not so much on him. He did a nice job when he was in quarantine. He did a nice job of staying in shape, and he's looked good this week. You know, the guy's coming on a little bit is Hammons. You know, he's doing a good job, and then Dominique's probably 3 right now, but has had a good week and he's in shape, so we won't have any problem giving him the football.
Tom?
I was wondering what you see as the most important parts of this game that you guys got to win. And then second, are your COVID numbers about like you expected them to be, getting most everybody back?
Well, we had to win both lines of scrimmage, you know, and that's a tall task because they're very good on both sides of the ball. But to me, that's where this game's going to come down to, because if we don't, coach will just turn around and hand the ball off like he did against Kentucky and control the clock for 40 minutes, you know, and we understand that. So we have to be good on both sides of football. We have to be able to run the football. And I'm not saying we have to run it for 200 yards, but we have to be able to run when we want to run. And they're very, very talented. And of course, you know how I feel about Bolton, but I think they're playing as good as anybody. You know, they're playing to their potential as good as anybody in the league. And that's credit to their coaching staff.
And then the COVID number part.
Oh, COVID. Yeah, COVID's been kind to us this week. So we have one more test. They tested today, and so we'll get the results back in the morning. But it's been a good week as far as negatives in COVID tests.
Scotty?
Yeah, coaches, what do you see from Missouri's secondary? Those looking at some numbers, I think their pass defense is tops in the league.
Well, they're very physical. You know, they play a lot of man coverage. They'll play man or 3 majority of the time. Very physical guys. They've got length to them, and they've got guys that have played before. You know, so certainly you go back years before. I know they're well coached, but that's, you know, another area where Barry was coaching as well. And so I'm sure that group of guys from Missouri is going to want to play really well, because they're going to want to show Coach Odom how much they've developed and things, and they're playing for their team, obviously. But I think there's a definite strength of their program.
Bob?
Sam, I think you said the week, you know, before the game got postponed, you guys were going to bus up to Columbia. Is that more for, you know, just not wanting to have to mess with getting on a plane? I know you guys are obviously the players used to flying, even though it's not a super long drive. Just how do you think that'll go? And also that restaurant you mentioned, Chevy's, I saw where one of the Mizzou writers, it closed in 2011. Well, you were there to support it, you know.
Hey, that's a good thought, man. Probably went down, started heading south whenever I left. But
the bus trip, is that going to be kind of old school, you know, for you?
You know, I think it's about a 5-hour trip. And originally, when all this happened, we were going to bus to Kansas City because that's where the game was. And you're looking at 3.5 hours or so, and to fly in there and all that, really wasn't going to be a whole lot of difference because, you know, the airport's north. And then we, you know, obviously the game got moved to Columbia. And so we stayed with that. And we were on ready if the game was a night game that would affect our, you know, late coming back to get ready for Alabama. We had talked about possibly flying at that point. But with it being an 11 o'clock game, I don't know that that's really going to affect the 2 hours or the hour and 45-minute difference, what it might be in total travel. You know, kids nowadays, they have their cell phones. There's movies on their phones. There's, you know, all kinds of things that, you know, they can sleep on the bus. We've added a bus or two. The original reason for it was so I didn't want to get anybody quarantined, and we can get enough buses and put enough guys who's had COVID in between guys that haven't, that we can be very, very safe, knowing that if somebody tests positive on Sunday, that we don't have to quarantine folks because they wouldn't have been within the 6 foot radius of their teammate.
Yeah, you can still order pizza from Shakespeare's.
Well, I don't know if that's going to be on our pregame menu or not, but we might do that.
Tom, did you have one more?
No, Tom, Bob just killed Tom's question.
I'm good. Appreciate it.
All right, that'll wrap us up. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, go Hogs.